Hi there, welcome to High Heels to Happy Feels. I'm Natalie.
And I'm Stephanie.
And today we're going to be discussing ethics. So this is going to be ethics around spirituality, ethics that we apply to our own lives, and anywhere really that the topic takes us. So let's go ahead and get started. We did talk to Bo about this last week.
We did in our podcast that we did on Monday night.
Yeah. And she talked a lot about ethical things, but I wanted to kind of highlight also that, like, when we do readings, and I know this is true for Bo too, because again, she's a mentor of ours, but when we do readings, if things come up like diagnosis, or you feel like there's something with their heart, or
any health issues.
Yeah. How do you handle it?
Taboo. That's taboo. You can, gently, what I've done previously is, it just feels like you're carrying some extra tension here, and maybe we'll talk about some Reiki or some cleansing of the chakras or something along those lines. But if they say, yeah, I've noticed I've had some extra pains, and most of the time people know. They already know that there's something else going on, and they'll tell you, and you'll be like, oh, okay, well, have you seen your doctor? It might be something to just mention to your doctor, but never, ever, oh, I feel you're having pains in your chest. Have you gone to the heart doctor? You're opening yourself up. Number one, what if you're wrong? Number two, what if you're right? And all of a sudden it becomes a big scare tactic, or it becomes something where people come to you to look for those kind of things. We are not medical professionals. That is not our job. Our job is to help spiritually, to help people grow their intuition, to, to read for people and to give them news. But it's not to say, hey, I see something that in 6 months you're dying, or,
yeah, that would be pretty harsh. Well, unless you're a medical intuitive. Like, if somebody's coming to you specifically because they have something going on, that's the expectation, and that's your niche. That's what you're practiced at.
Right. But generally speaking, most medical intuitives are an RN, or, they have some sort of medical background that it is beyond just tapping in. There's been other psychics who have done that and who have said, oh, I see you're going to have a heart attack. And maybe they do, but it's like a year later. And they're, next thing you know, they're being called a quack and a fraud and all these different things, and it ruins you. And even though you were technically right, and maybe it is something you feel very strongly about, there are other ways to suggest that, I feel like you've been a little down lately, and I feel like maybe things have been a little lethargic, and it might be a good opportunity to just check in with your doctor, maybe do some blood work or something, and just make sure that, your energy's good. Whatever.
Yeah.
It can be very, very vague. You want it to be vague. You just want to make sure that you're helping in the most general way possible when it comes to health.
Yeah, agreed. And based on other people's stories to us, also the same thing about death. Like, if somebody's coming to you for a missing person, even if they show up to you in spirit, you never say that they're dead, because you might be wrong. And I know there was a lady that did a talk show.
Yeah.
And she said that they were dead, and they ended up like reappearing 3 or 4 years later.
Yeah,
so
they were alive. Yeah. And those people that, of course, you give up hope, they quit searching, they quit doing those things based on what this person had told them. Because we're the experts, right? I mean, that's what folks are coming to you for, is that you are the expert, and that they're looking to you for that guidance.
Right.
They are not looking, they think they're looking to you to solve all their problems. It's to help people figure out what their path is. It is not to help solve their problems. Everyone's got to solve their own problems.
Yeah, agreed. And I think that highlights when you mentioned people already know what's going on typically. And when you see it, everybody's intuitive.
Absolutely.
We say that all the freaking time. Everybody's intuitive. So every time I've run across something, I'm like, oh, your knee's a little off. But I don't say anything.
Right.
And then they'll be like, well, there's something going on with my knee. And I'm like, you know what? I was kind of picking up that same thing.
Right.
So.
It's fine to be a confirmation when it's mild. Again, if somebody said, hey, the doctor said I have 6 months to live, is that what you see? No. I'm going to be like, well, What did your doctor say? And I'm going to spin that, folks. I'm going to take that and just turn it into a longer conversation to find out more about this person and help them develop what they feel like they need to accomplish in the next 6 months.
Right.
If that really is their path, it's not for me or Natalie or anybody in this industry. And in our opinion, you don't touch that. That is no.
Yeah, like
medical's taboo.
Yeah, even if you're the spiritual community. Anyway.
Right. And we do, and it's different like when you're doing medium readings. So you will be able to tell people, did they die from cancer?
That's right.
Did they die because you're tapping into the energy? It's different because you're talking to the spirit that is crossed. And so you feel that energy. And now it's okay and acceptable to talk about it because the fact is that person is already passed. They're no longer in this human plane. So that is a very different experience.
But you're bringing up kind of a shady area.
Yeah.
Because somebody comes in that they don't know is passed. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's confirmation when they tell you my dead grandmother.
Right, but if somebody comes in and they're like, I don't know who that is, and the more you start explaining what they look like or how they feel to you, and they're like, that sounds like Steve. Right. I haven't seen him in years.
Right, and I've had that happen a lot.
Me too.
Yeah, and then you're like, I feel like somebody's in hospice. Who do you know that's in hospice? And they're like, I don't know anybody in hospice. Oh, okay. Well, do you have a name? And then pretty soon, yeah, but... The fact is they have a message for them. And so you're not medically diagnosing that person. You're just asking a general question. But I agree. It's sticky. If you're in doubt, avoid it.
Well, either that or just give the message and say, I really can't tell you who this is. It's just kind of an energy. And here's what they're kind of telling me.
Right. Here's what I'm getting, but I don't know who it is. And so, just keep your eyes open.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. And you could know crystal clear. They could have said, hey, this is Steve Smith or John Doe, and they are blah, 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 blah. No. Right? It's best to just be like, I feel like there's somebody, their name might start with a J. I don't know. And,
Yeah. And then let them do their research. And if they come back and they're like, oh, yeah, it was this person. And you're like, yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Right.
The other thing with like spiritually ethics, and we did talk about this with Bo, because she had kind of prepared me for running into people in the supermarket, and they've got little people following them.
Yeah.
And you're like, and when they realize that you see them and like there's a connection there, and then they start talking to you and staying away from the person involved. Like, just don't say anything.
Mm-mm. And you don't walk up to strangers and be like, hey, your mom's standing right behind you and she says she loves you. What if you caused that person to have a heart attack? You've just turned somebody who didn't even know their mother was dead, and you're just telling them that their mother's standing next to them. No. And
these are our personal beliefs. Like,
yes.
If you approach your spirituality in a different way, like we're just kind of broad basing ethics here.
Right.
But yeah, you don't want to shock anybody.
No. And they didn't ask for your opinion.
Right.
So, this goes into that realm for me when I always teach others that other people's opinions are none of your business. Well, my opinions are also none of theirs unless they ask for it. So if somebody's paying for a reading and they're coming and seeing us or coaching or going through something like the Sage mentoring with us or whatever it might be from our programs, they're asking for our opinion. They're asking for our help. The lady in the grocery store is not asking to know that she has a buttload of fairies following her and her dead grandfather and a chain of ancestors that are all waiting for her to just acknowledge that they exist.
Well, and that's a really good point. Like, I have a couple of friends that I dump on. They're like my rant women, my rant ravens.
Right.
And Stephanie being one of them.
Yeah.
But when it's a really bad day, when I call them, I'm like, do you have space for this? Because I don't know where they're at emotionally. I don't know if they can take my garbage and be like, yep, right. Let me help you process through that.
Right.
And there's
some days where you're like, look, okay, I need an hour. Let me just get through this and let me ground and call you back.
Yeah, and you can't really walk up to anybody in the supermarket and be like, hey, I have something to tell you. You got space for it? Because they don't know. Like, they're going to be like, you are.
And especially, come on. Think of all of us that, and people we know that kept things hidden for a very long time or are not open at all. Now, imagine you've just bombasted them with some sort of crazy theory. Not only do you look like a giant Looney Tune, but they are potentially going to go the other direction because some weirdo in the supermarket just ambushed them with some strange thing and you've got them freaked out.
Right. So they're either going to be stuck to your hip or you're going to be meeting the cops in the parking lot. One way or the other. It's just not a good
It's
scenario.
not going to go well. It's a bad day.
But and I do honor those shows that do that. You see them approach people that they don't know, and
it's just not us.
But those are shows, and we don't know the prep work that happened behind that.
You never know. Reality TV, folks, is not reality. It's even on YouTube, edited. It is not. You know this. Everybody knows it. Social media is totally subject to each person's interpretation because an entire script could have gone on behind the scenes. I mean, you look at the commercials. Oh my, you have the blah, blah pill? Oh, I love that pill too. Really? You think the video guy from YouTube was just right there and that little pill just appeared? We all know better. Everyone knows better. Grain of
salt with everything.
So it's the same thing with those. If they walk up to a stranger, that person may not be a stranger. That may be somebody that is their mother-in-law. It could be, you have no idea what their relationship is in the name of self-promotion. And it could be legit. There are those that are legit. Good for them, against our grain. Not where we're comfortable.
And we do appreciate those shows, though, because I think it's really opened up spirituality to
a
lot
agree.
of people who...
I agree. People that would have never seen it. It's gotten it to the masses.
Yeah, which is totally appreciated because everybody needs to lighten up and get their intuitive turned on, and I think that's a big step.
I agree.
I think it's just a little bit edited.
Yeah, I agree.
And sovereignty, that's what it's all about. We're really about people's sovereignty. They need to seek us out. Yeah. And give us that kind of permission.
Yes.
The other ethical topic we wanted to talk about is paranormal investigations.
Oh, yeah.
Because that is so all over the place now. Yeah. And we were talking about like our vibration. We're not sure why we don't get scared. Because we're seeing, this happen with other paranormal investigators. I
love the ones where they're like, what?
Right. What was that?
And they run and they drop things and all of this, and we're going, has that ever happened to you? Have you ever run? No.
Right.
I mean, you'll hear an occasional thing and you're like,
what was that?
That wasn't me.
But it wasn't like, what was that?
Right? There's no cussing and freaking out and running down the hallway or anything like that. And so, edited television, I'm sorry, but our video content, which we will put out, like about the Hotel Congress, right? We had some great findings. We had great conversations using Estes method. We had very, very good action on one of the trip lights. It was like a disco ball. You'd have thought we had a dance party going on in there. And it was fascinating and fun and high energy, but never once did we go, oh, shit, drop everything and run from the room. Or,
we had somebody get touched.
My partner was touched, and he didn't even bother. He just goes, well, I didn't, I knew what it was, but...
We had mimics.
We had a mimic.
There was
a full-on
so
mimic.
Much going on with her partner.
Oh, my gosh.
And we were there to witness it, so it's not like
right?
He's just
he even had
a
small little attachment there for a short period. We handled that pretty dang quick, but
everything is so like blown up on so many channels.
It is. And he was just like, what do you mean? And Natalie goes, well, here's what I'm seeing. And he goes, is it right here? And we're like, get off me, and so, but it was never a full panic, freak out. Is it going to eat my brains? Am I going to die? Do I need to? And the shows, again, to your comment earlier, are bringing people in droves, which is amazing because that is ultimately the goal of all of us, is to share and to get information out and to make more people aware and to just develop spiritually, right? To open up and see things and just realize there's so many things going on around us. But the shows that are out there, and there are some, I watch them too, do not get me wrong, but I will giggle because I'll be like, yeah, I've been there. not so much. You know,
Yeah.
I know. And we're just like, okay, we get it.
Well,
but they got great ratings, right? And they're making $25,000, $30,000, $50,000 each per episode that they're on these shows. It's like, well, good on you.
Right. And like you said, it's great that they're bringing that kind of audience to happen. The other thing is like a lot of those shows don't have a walking medium with them.
True. There's a few that do, but most do not, where they don't
Either
have
that
somebody.
Or we don't see them. They're behind the scenes to reset the situation.
Exactly. And we do clear. So one thing at Hotel Congress, you know, and we won't get into details or share that in our video because that's personal to each spirit. Mm-hmm. It's a personal.
Well, and it's personal to us. That's like the work that we do.
That's what we're. Yeah, that's what we get paid to do, and that's what we go and do when we are going on these kind of trips on our own dime is because we want to. We are there to help those spirits cross that want to go. So we did spend, we crossed a lot. You were very emotional at one point.
There was a woman who was she really just dumped it on me. Mm-hmm. And I'm not sure, actually, I know she left.
Right.
I don't know.
You don't see
them cross.
You don't see them actually turn around and wave and close through the door, right? They're not like, okay.
That would be so fantastic.
Oh, it would be lovely.
Like, yep, I'm going to do it.
But you just notice that all of a sudden they're headed that direction and then
you don't feel them
and
anymore.
Then they are not there and things get lighter. And so.
Oh, yeah, I was bawling my eyes
out. Oh, I'm
like,
she's just sobbing and I'm like telling my partner, I'm like, grab her a tissue. He's running and grabbing a Kleenex and he goes, is she crying? I'm like, she's crying. And then I'm talking to the spirits going, give her a hug on the way by, please. Quit dumping on my sister.
So I'm not sure if that was like 40 people or if it was just like one really upset person.
But we had a few because there was multiple names in there that we did via Estes and some other methods where we were talking to them. Yeah, but again, the ethics around it, crossing. For us, it's not just about the investigation, and which is why we want to start sharing that more frequently, is in the video footage and the things that come through, because people love that and they love to see it and they love to see validation, proof, right? Mm-hmm. Proof. Everybody wants proof. We felt it already, so it's never something we felt obligated to really share because it was like, well...
Yeah, but even in the day, we would carry a K2 or a spirit box or just...
Dowsing rods,
Especially when we first started developing.
Mm-hmm.
We've been doing it for a really long time, but when we were like, okay, we're turning this on, then we started carrying those with us just to get that validation, that kind of like, no doubt that this is happening.
Right. Beyond just seeing them or talking to them or just,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it's fun. It's fun, right? To watch all of it and see it and have it all on video to go, look at that. And it's all recorded. And that's really cool. And that's nice because that helps those that are having a really hard time maybe accepting that there are other things. And so the validation is for their benefit, definitely more than it is for ours. Our validation comes in the feeling of light energy.
The peace.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because that's what we're really shooting for.
Exactly. And we just don't, our mentor, Bo, she has always referred to them as human zoos, where you're paying to go through a place where they're trapping these spirits to keep them there basically against their will to keep scaring people. They're not all like that. They're definitely not. There are some places where they just want to hang out. They're not ready to go. There's some places where it's just residual energy from very old history. There are some places where it is all complete bullshit and it's just made up and they're doing it for the fear factor. And that's okay too, because people are paying for it, right? Mm-hmm. There's nothing that sets in stone anywhere that says you are guaranteed a live ghost. That sounds stupid. Alive.
That's an oxymoron.
Yes, ma'am, it is. Oxymoron. You are guaranteed to see spirits. You are guaranteed. You're not going. There is no guarantee. No. Number one, how open are you? Number two, are they in that area? Number three, did another medium like us come along and beat you to it and cross them over, right? And clear that space. Now, they can always come back through. Like, look at Cheeseman this week.
Right. And that's our mentor who's taught us a lot about like why we have to continually go back to places. The initial energy has probably been cleared by other mediums because a lot of people do this work. And you don't have to be a medium to do this work.
No.
You can just sit in compassion and help people cross.
Absolutely.
But those places are meant to be haunted or they're meant to have this certain type of experience. So other spirits who may be just now stuck might find that place because they want to scare the heck out of somebody.
Right. And there's a reason, right? There's a lot of times a reason, or their battery. And if you haven't looked into what a battery is, I mean, a battery it can be a small area or it can be a very large area, but there's generally something specific around it. Like a battery is there to charge your equipment. It is highly charged for a reason. Maybe the divorce rates are higher. Maybe infant death is higher. Maybe something, but there's something specific in that area that is supposed to happen for people. Mm-hmm. If they are called to that area, move to that area, something in their life is supposed to transition.
And you can't move those.
And
well, typically.
Right. You can do a lot of clearing, and you can do a lot of very good energy prep, right? Putting the salt down and making sure you've got, shungite or black obsidian, making sure you're using sage. I mean, you can do all the things for your own personal space.
But ultimately, you have to listen to spirit guides.
But you got to listen to your guides, because those are high vibrational. Mm-hmm. I don't want to say high vibrational, but they are very vibrating areas in terms of energy.
Yeah, they have a specific purpose.
Yes, they do.
You're not probably to mess with it most of the time.
And your guides will generally let you know that.
Right.
And that's the other thing that I think a lot of our paranormal friends, when we're talking about ethics, probably don't do. And again, they could just not know. But spending time with spirit ahead of time, whether it's your guides, your angels, God, whoever it is that your higher power that you're speaking with, but spending time sitting with that first to say, am I supposed to? Because a lot of times you're going to find out that, you know what, you're not supposed to. That area is not for you to clear. Maybe it's another medium that's supposed to go learn in that area. Maybe that area is supposed to remain that way for another 20 years because there's 3 more families that have to work their way through some garbage. You just don't know. And
that's a super ethical approach.
It's a very...
to how things happen. Like, the places we go are typically because they've called to us
in
some way. Like, we keep dreaming about them, or we keep having synchronicities.
Right.
About
or the
them.
Spirits will come to you from those places and be like, hey, we're ready for you. We heard you're coming, like Cheeseman Park did for you.
And Queen Mary.
And Queen Mary. Yeah. And a couple of those spirits came ahead of time and said, good, we heard you're coming. And they were like basically giving visual directions as to where we're supposed to be at. Right. And those you go.
Right.
Those you go. But when you're going to work in something that's as big as a battery, or even for somebody who needs their house cleared, you still gotta kind of check in. Because the fact is, the spirit team might be like, okay, these people are begging for it, but their spirit guides are in the background saying, they haven't learned yet. They are not done. We are trying desperately to get a message through to them, and they are not listening, and so we've turned up the heat. Give them a little more time.
Yeah, and we haven't worked with batteries, so...
No, I know lots of people who have, but
them, yes.
and about them enough, but have not. And Cheeseman could be a battery in some areas. There might be some, just because there's so much land there and so much history. But that's not what I was feeling of it Monday.
Yeah, no. It didn't seem like it. You mentioned real estate, though, and I think that's a really good point, too, because we work with realtors, or have in the past, and we're kind of trying to renegotiate with our spirit guides, like how that's going to work again, because it was a great thing, especially for new homeowners. But so when you're
those selling a home that they've just got some issues,
or somebody who's living in a haunted house who is just
basically scared. All the way around, buyers, sellers, whatever.
Anything
if you
has to do with your
got juju
house.
In your house, we're like, how can we help, right?
Right. So like the ethics behind that, maybe somebody wants to buy a haunted house, but the realtors are having it. Like, I don't know how and maybe that's the lesson and why it dropped so much. Maybe that's what we're working through right now.
Could be. But most people, there are those that go looking for the, and they've all just escaped my name, those houses, the Sally House and what's the other, some of the...
Oh, like Vasilla X.
Yes. And, that people that want those and go live in them.
The
Conjuring house. And, and she's
shut that down, I guess.
She's gone.
Anyway, that's
she's
another
gone crazy,
thing that just came out.
But that's
times.
A whole other thing. But it's... So you have to look at that, right? And that's listening to, again, your ethics, your gut, your spirit team. Am I supposed to? Because the realtor could be saying, look, I'm the one listing the property. I don't care who wants to buy it that says that they're doing this. I want you to come clear it. If our guides say, yes, that property needs cleared, I'm good with that. But if they're like, or I'm feeling like, okay, this isn't supposed to happen this way, or then we'll bow out gracefully. But yeah, 99% of the time we're going to go. And we're going to go clear.
Oh, yeah.
And do our best to set that stage for somebody else, right? To say, welcome to your new home.
Right. And who doesn't love walking into new energy and being able to develop that home for themselves? And the people who call about hauntings as well.
Yeah.
Like, that can be a really scary situation.
Yeah.
But then you go into them and their, like, teenage son is doing Ouija and seances in their room.
We're like, quit opening portals.
We gotta not be coming back. So let's get the root cause figured out.
Right. Because you do those repeat visits, and pretty soon you're like, okay, so your kid needs to quit bringing this stuff out of the closet, and
which can be a very, very dramatic conversation because the parents are like, no, little Jimmy's not doing that. And you're like...
Or no, or the parents are doing it.
Or the parent, right.
Right, it's just a Ouija board, or it's just this and whatever, and you're going, do you know what you're doing? Do you know how to open? Do you know how to close? Do you know how to protect yourself and your home and the people around you and your dogs and your cats and your birds and your plants? And do you know? Because if you don't, knock it off.
Well, and even, okay.
That's ethics, people. Okay. That's just more ethics.
But that brings up a good point. So there's a lot of people out there who work with the Ouija board and will tell you they know everything.
Mm-hmm.
And they know what the player board said. They know that they need to close it. They know that, like, they know what they need to know to do that. But do they really know their impact on spiritual realm?
Right.
It's a really...
You might know the rules of the game and what you think with the portal.
And what you do to protect yourself, but what are you doing to the other side as well?
And can you control that?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. There is not a single human being alive. I don't care who the hell you say you are and what you think you can do, that can go out here and be like, I can absolutely control the spirits that come through this.
Oh, yeah.
I can absolutely control if it's good, bad, or indifferent. No, you cannot. You opened the door. You opened the door, and you might think you closed it, but that Casper's overhanging in the corner and is just waiting for you to finish closing up shop for the night.
Right. They just want to sit on the edge of your bed and tickle your feet.
Exactly.
In the middle of the night.
Say, thanks for opening that. We're going to go ahead and play again. Yay. Because now you want to get rid of me, so you're going to open it up, and I'm going to bring my friends in.
I'm like, we don't know that either, but like,
you get the point that it's ethics. It's ethics in the game itself of a Ouija board. It's ethics in opening portals.
Yeah. Everything
in a seance, anything like that, even in our rituals. I'm very, very specific. Very specific.
Well, you're very present in the situation.
I'm very present.
Often when Ouija boards come out, it's like a party.
Oh, yeah. And there's all these hands on there, and some believe and some don't. And
it's just a lot of chaos energy, which is why Ouija boards are called out a lot.
Right.
Because every divination tool could be a Ouija board.
Absolutely.
Literally.
Absolutely. But you just don't, you can't have 5 people's hands on a pendulum at the same time.
And usually when somebody's using a pendulum, it's because they're very, like, they're in
You're in focus.
They're like, they're in the present situation. When a Ouija board's in play, people are thinking
and
about
it's like a seance,
things.
right? If you've got a whole bunch of people sitting around and holding hands and doing these things together, it's beautiful and the energy can be great. If every single one of those people, it's like you think about a coven or something like that, where maybe it's a specific group of women, men that work together and do these kind of spiritual things all the time. It's a totally different ball of wax when it's back to our house clearings. It's a slumber party, and the group of teenagers have played.
Yeah.
And we did it in high school too. Do not get me wrong. I have a story from Ouija boards that will make your hair curl, and why I never used one again. And I was 13. I was still junior high school.
You were young. I think
it was high school. Anyway.
High school. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's just say it got thrown out and we never used Ouija boards again.
No.
Ever. And the age of 51 was a whole avoidance of the Pacific Ocean. Yeah, just saying.
Which is also why I won't go near it either. But we're not standing on our high horse. We don't have high horses. Like, we're very humble.
Although that would freak me out. Yeah.
We're just telling you, like,
ethics.
Our experience and the ethics that we follow around it. If you play Ouija boards and you do it with your friends all the time and you have a great time,
go forth and conquer.
That's awesome. If you have problems, let us know. We'll come help.
Right. And then we're going to make you throw that thing away, especially while we're there.
No, we're not going to make anybody do anything.
I'm going to ask you politely to go put it someplace else while we're there.
We have ethics. She's out of control.
Ouija boards.
We'll give you highlights of what we find.
Yeah.
All right. What else we got going on ethically?
I think those are really the big ones. You know, it's the rules of humanity, right? If you've got people coming into your house and you've asked them there for a particular reason, or have invited them into your life in some capacity, you know, to do a reading or to do something like that, you think about, what do you want to hear from these people? And how would you treat them? And what would you expect to say? It's all golden rule based.
Really?
And ethics is just that. It's just in every aspect of what we do, trying to take the high road all the time. And there's always going to be times where there's a miss. It just happens, and then you apologize and you move on. But 99% of the time, we're going to capture and just sit with those moments and say, yeah, can't cross that road. Can't do that. The real estate clearing, yeah, we absolutely want to help and make sure that we're helping realtors, buyers, sellers, you know, new homeowners that just can't, for some reason, shake the energy of their home they're trying to sell. Whoever it is, we want to help. But we want to do it in the kindest way possible. We want to represent and make sure that the energy of the house is supposed to be cleared. And that's something we'll practice first, because we'll have conversations. You know, what kind of energy is it? What are you feeling? Was it there when you bought it, or has it only developed in a certain amount of time? I mean, there's going to be conversations before we go do that. So
yeah, we do investigative work on that as well.
Absolutely.
And definitely still keep living your life out loud. But if you're going to impact somebody else or somebody in the spirit realm, make sure you ask them first.
Absolutely.
Like, do they have space for you today for that kind of a conversation? Most conversations are pretty harmless, but if you're going to step into somebody's space,
ask permission.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Ask permission. It's just like anything else. You just want to be kind and say, hey, you know, I'm here to give a hug, or I'm here to be the one that is your soapbox, right? Or, you know, or for me to get off my soapbox, apparently. But sorry about that. But you see, I get wound up about it. I do. I get really wound up about the ethics. I appreciate a good show like anyone else. I watch them too. I have several that I love and record. We love them, watch them. There's just more giggles because we know sometimes that there's just ratings involved and there's things that are happening behind the scenes. So always be cognizant of that when you're looking at these things, to just remember what happens behind the scenes. Because what Natalie said earlier, you know, there are thousands of paranormal investigators and they are not necessarily out to make $1 million. They're out doing a job. We're all doing a job. We're all doing something that is spiritually bound and that we are feeling called to do and to help and to be of service. Mm-hmm. And so recognize that and honor that as well. And just,
Yeah, good stuff.
Just be kind. Be kind. God, we need a lot of that right now.
All right, and close us out now.
And cut. All right, so again, you can find us at immersivespirit.com. We, of course, have our free lunar intention setting. So if you haven't checked that out, we would love for you to go start taking a part in that and doing that new moon intention setting. We just wrapped up our full moon in Taurus. We're in Gemini tonight. So go ahead and check that out. We also have a 21-day journey, which is an awesome way to just really delve in and get through a 21-day kind of spiritual detox, right? That's really what it's all about.
Which we ought to do ourselves.
Yeah, I got to restart mine again.
We got squirrels all over the flipping place right
now.
Well,
and we're coming from Hotel Congress. We will have some video footage on that. We do have a new calendar that will be coming out soon. It's just the journal that we've been using ourselves personally for several years.
We love it. It's awesome.
We love it. It's a great tool. It's a great way to write your gratitudes, your evening kind of reflections, just daily notes, your divination tool if you tarot, pendulum, whatever, manifestation, as well as a few other little tidbits in there for you. So that'll be coming. We'll have the month of December out, and then we'll have it annually published from there. our annual lunar course we're working on. So stay tuned. That's still coming, and we'll have pieces of that, right? So there'll be individual courses around tarot, runes, crystals, the wheel of life, and then there'll be a package that you can get everything all combined to make it a little easier if you're interested.
And the live manifestation.
The live manifestation, which will be February or March?
I think it's probably going to be March.
March. And then we've got, of course, the Queen Mary in February. We do got to arrange some squirrels in.
Yeah, and we're going to be in Queen Mary B340 in February.
Yes, we are, and that's going to be super exciting to go back to the Queen Mary, all of us together. We'll have the Hotel Congress coming out soon. Of course, we have all of our coaching, our readings, everything on immersivespirit.com. And that was a whole lot. We have a lot. Just go look at our website. And if you haven't joined our community, please do. Join the IS Town
Square.
Thank you. Our IS Town Square
Squirrel
community. And get some conversations going, right? We're still a new community, so our conversations are fresh. We're going to be sharing a lot of things out there. We have free workshops on our site, so we've got remote viewing, some psychic development courses. Some of those will start being paid here in the next round, so just be cognizant of that if you're not a member. I think that's it. So, from high heels to happy feels, I'm Stephanie.
And I'm Natalie.
Have a great rest of your evening, and we will talk to you again next week. Bye-bye.